And welcome to this Houston Newsmakers Extra. I've been talking with Ambassador David Satterfield, the director of the Baker Institute for Public Policy. And Ambassador, we're talking about the potential normalization deal that is being worked on that would involve Saudi Arabia and Israel and Palestinians. Boy, it is really intricately involved. There are a lot of pieces that have to fall into place. You've seen a lot of ideas like this come up, I'm sure, through the years of your involvement in the Middle East and around in that area. How optimistic can you be with so many working parts that have so much potential for something to go wrong?
I'm usually fairly cautious in expressing optimism in anything affecting the Middle East. But in this case, I see genuine reason to believe that an arrangement on the bases that I see out there, understandings on U.S. security assurances for Saudi Arabia, and understanding on a monitored, overseen civil nuclear energy program for Saudi Arabia, Saudi commitments on the character of hydrocarbon currency pricing in exchange for normalization with Israel, and some form of useful positive measure with respect to the Palestinians. I see that as eminently doable. I can't tell you that it's going to happen next week, next month, but as a potential, it's absolutely there. And that is something I could not have said really at any point over the past 40 years.
With all of this going on in the background, there are those who would say that, any kind of deal or relationship with Saudis is not the best way to go because of their human rights issues and the reports by the government about their involvement in the murder of Washington Post reporter, that sort of thing. It sounds to me like you would say, well, as awful as that might have been, that this is a bigger opportunity for some sort of peaceful resolution that has kind of eluded a lot of people for a long time.
Well, look, the world is a very tough, very difficult place. You do not all too often make peace, make arrangements with your friends. You make them with individuals who are much more problematic in their behaviors. Are we concerned about human rights in Saudi Arabia? Of course. Does the memory of the Khashoggi brutal murder continue to impact us? It certainly does. But the United States has vital U.S. national security and economic interests around the world. Those interests require, and it's the role of diplomacy, the determination of what steps, as we consider the context of human rights and other issues, what steps are appropriate to advance those greater U.S. interests. There is no perfect squaring of circles here. And there is a real difference between the practical conduct of diplomacy in the real world and opinion articles which tell administrations they must do certain things. The real world is a much more nuanced place. Mm-hmm. That's not often a happy situation.
Right.
But as always, and this is a bipartisan combat, U.S. administrations must, in the end, be concerned in striking a calculus, a balance that is based on U.S. interests. I believe the arrangements under discussion with Saudi Arabia absolutely advance U.S. interests. They confront, they mitigate, they constrain challenges to those interests from Iran, from China, and they benefit Israel, a strategic partner, along the way. My one question mark in all of this is the nature of the assurances and commitments required on the Palestinian issue as a potential condition for this deal. I would be personally extremely cautious about inserting a Palestinian component into this arrangement, unless it were something as simple, as clear as Saudi financial support for the Palestinian Authority. On that, no one would disagree.
I'm going to let you go here in a minute, but I note that the Baker Institute was a part of a focus on the 75th anniversary of the State of Israel. A lot of people who are in this country sometimes forget that Israel is only 75 years old and has always, even from the very beginning, had an independent streak that we have to kind of recognize. They may be young, but they've always been independent and strong-willed.
Just like us. They're a sovereign, independent state with a proud history. They are a democracy. The debate there is just the same in many ways as the debate domestically here in the U.S., here in Texas. What kind of democracy are we to be?
Ambassador, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you taking a few moments away from the cooler climate in which you are staying right now and enjoying us. I hope we can have you come in when you're back in town and on any range of issues that we might want to talk about that the Baker Institute is doing, and would love to have you in studio.
I'd be delighted. Thank you.
Thank you. Ambassador David Satterfield, the director of the Baker Institute for Public Policy. We hope that you would use this Houston Newsmakers Extra and share it with everyone you know.